Hello everyone, my name is Ian, and today I'm going to be continuing my 6-part series of What If Marvel Had All the Rights from the Start. Now, I know that the last episode was a very long time ago, and I have finally had time to write all the stories for the 11 projects in the start of Phase 5, aka my Multiverse saga. So, without any further ado, I want to say thank you to all the people that have commented and watched the videos, but also thank you for your guys' patience more importantly. So, with that being said, let's jump into the alternate 616 timeline. Also, before we continue with this video, I want to let you guys know about two things that I've updated to this series. Number one, someone asked me a while back what would be the cast for this entire roster of heroes and villains and characters. I have actually started working on that and I'm almost done with it, so I will probably do a little tribute thing at the end of this whole series and show a whole cast list of who I think these characters should be played by. But on top of that, I have also gone back through some of my slides and changed out some of the PNG characters. So either I found a better image of, let's say, Susan Storm or Johnny Storm, or maybe I found a better image of Beast. I did some Google searches to try to find some good images I can use for this visual presentation in a way. So there are some characters that are going to look different from the previous episodes. It's just to improve the overall look of what I want them to look like in this universe of mine. So hopefully that's not too confusing. Anyways, let's get into it. All right, so our first project to kick off the Multiverse saga is going to be Loki, taking place outside of space and time. Season 1. This show takes place outside of space and time, where Loki gets arrested by the TVA for crimes against the sacred timeline. We begin to learn about the multiverse and that the Loki we see in this show originated from a branch timeline. His reality starts to shift when he learns that not even an Infinity Stone can help him here. A TVA worker named Mobius has taken a liking to this variant, Loki, and wants to have a philosophical discussion about life. Free will emerges as the two work together to solve a case involving some TVA hunters who have gone missing, and the cause is attributed to a variant of Loki. The variant, Loki, is female and goes by the name Sylvie. Loki is interested in this variant and listens to what she has to say about the Timekeepers and how the TVA should be destroyed, allowing everyone to have free will instead of everything being predetermined for them. Loki and Sylvie eventually make their way to the Timekeepers and they learn that they were robots. Loki would get pruned and sent to the Void. When he wakes up thinking he's dead, he then notices other variants of himself in a giant purple cloud roaming the skies. Loki follows his variants across the void until he finds a familiar face. Mobius arrives with Sylvie. Working together with the other variants, they stop the purple cloud known as a Goliath that feeds on anything sent to the void. Sylvie and Loki enchant it, allowing a tear in space to open where a citadel sits at the end of time. When they head inside, they meet a man called He Who Remains, the man who controls the flow of time. He tells them that he has been the one paving the way for them to meet each other. Loki asks him about the multiversal war and if any of that was true. He tells them that it's all true and that it is because of him and his variants. He pulls out a strange device that shows how the war began, and that a man from the 32nd century discovered multiple realities stacked on top of each other, kind of like pancakes. At the same time, each one of these variants was interacting with the others. Unfortunately, not every version of this man was so peaceful. Most of them were conquerors who tried to rule over other realities. Eventually, only one variant remained, who had weaponized the power of Goliath and ended the multiversal war. After that, he isolated the timeline so that no other reality could interfere with this universe. Sylvie still thinks it's a trick and still wants to kill him, but Loki believes him. So, He Who Remains thought of an idea. He tells them that there are two options here. One, they could kill him and let the multiverse be exposed, causing another war, or two, let them run over everything. Sylvie still doesn't buy it and goes in for the kill. Loki steps in and tries to stop her. The two fight it out, with Loki being pushed through a temporary portal, and Sylvie kills He Who Remains, as his final words were, "See you soon." Loki is sent back to the TVA where he meets up with Mobius and learns that he is no longer in the same TVA as he used to see statues of the Timekeepers. Now he sees a statue of Kang the Conqueror. Season 2. Suddenly Loki begins experiencing time slipping, meaning he is slipping through time at the TVA, which shouldn't be possible because the TVA is supposed to exist outside of time. Slipping back into the present, Loki and Mobius work together to find the cause of the time slipping and eventually find Sylvie along the way. Loki learns that there are timelines out there that are disintegrating. Eventually, Loki learns how to control his time slipping and goes to different parts of branched timelines to ask philosophical questions about learning who lives and who dies when choosing who gets free will. Eventually, Loki slips back to the moment of He Who Remains' death and has a conversation with him about a device meant to help maintain the flow of time, called the Loom. Eventually, Loki chooses to break the Loom and replace it with something new. Loki heads out to break the Loom, and as time flows by, a new godly outfit appears, and the Loom shatters. During this time, Loki can grab strands or pieces of a timeline and pull them within him. That's when a tear in space opened where the Citadel is. Loki walks towards the tear, grabbing as many vines as possible and drags them to a chair that transforms into a golden throne. As he sits down and connects the vines, the camera zooms out, revealing a new timeline that unfolds in the shape of the Yggdrasil tree. The mid-credit scene shows a man coming out of the water to meet some people on a sandbank near the ocean as Namor emerges to see Black Panther and the Fantastic Four. The post-credit scene shows a strange-looking world with strange-looking creatures and what looks like portals in the sky as some bright light crashes down to the ground as we see a man crawl out of a ship in battle-damaged purple and green armor. Kang the Conqueror has been banished to the quantum realm. Our next project in the timeline is actually on the timeline. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, taking place in 2025. T'Challa works tirelessly to maintain peace between Wakanda and the rest of the world. He shares Wakandan resources in hopes of preventing future conflict. He even assists the Fantastic Four from time to time. One night, he sits by the campfire with his mother and sister Shuri, discussing ways to improve Wakanda. As they talk, T'Challa senses an unknown presence approaching. A mysterious man with pointy ears, ankle wings, and vibranium jewels emerges from the water. T'Challa demands to know who he is and why he has come here. The man introduces himself as Namor and says he is inspecting Wakanda. Namor declares that Talokan is superior and plans to take all of Wakanda's vibranium for himself. T'Challa refuses to surrender their strongest metal to a potential enemy. Namor gives T'Challa 1 week to reconsider before disappearing back into the water. T'Challa begins preparing Wakanda's forces, though he knows nothing about this Talokan location. Shuri searches for the hidden nation but finds nothing. T'Challa decides to seek help from Reed Richards. Him and Shuri travel to New York and consult the Fantastic Four. Reed reveals rumors of an underwater civilization in the Atlantic with metal as strong as vibranium. The heroes travel to the ocean, where Namor eventually emerges and becomes captivated by Sue Storm. Namor offers to spare Wakanda if Sue becomes his wife, enraging Reed. After being rejected, Namor attacks and T'Challa fights him alone. Wakanda is devastated in T'Challa's absence, leading to a final confrontation where T'Challa sees his mother has died, but can't find his sister, thinking she is dead too. Namor continues the fight through Wakanda and is about to kill T'Challa. Before the final blow can be dealt, Shuri, armored up in her own Black Panther suit, attacks Namor and captures him along with his generals. T'Challa and the rest of Wakanda mourn the loss of their queen, but their mother as well. The mid-credit scene shows T'Challa sits at a table with Sam Wilson and 6 empty seats. He asks if anyone else is coming, but Sam assures him they are, and they are just late. The post-credit scene shows an alarm going off as a cryo chamber breaks open and a dangerous mutant escapes, wanting to get his revenge on Wolverine. Our next project in the timeline is Deadpool 2, taking place in 2025. Deadpool is devastated after Vanessa's death, feeling purposeless and desperate to join her. Unable to die, he spirals into depression and reckless attempt at self-destruction. Colossus arrives at Deadpool's door, concerned about his emotional state. He offers Deadpool a chance to regain purpose by helping save the world. Deadpool initially refuses, but he owes nothing to the world that took Vanessa. Colossus reveals that the threat they face is targeting Wolverine. This convinces Deadpool to join the mission. At the X Mansion, they meet Wolverine, Quicksilver, and a new mutant named Domino. Deadpool insists that luck isn't a real power, taking jabs at Domino. The team travels to Russia to stop Omega Red, a failed super soldier experiment. Omega Red believes himself to be a god after the adamantium tentacles altered him. Deadpool undermines Colossus multiple times, causing chaos and disrupting team coordination. A fierce battle erupts between Omega Red and the X-Men, with Wolverine taking the lead. Quicksilver helps but still gets hit despite how fast he is, and even Colossus suffers serious wounds. Wolverine nearly dies before Deadpool intervenes, and Domino blinds Omega Red so they can escape. Back at the mansion, the team scolds Deadpool for his behavior and reviews Omega Red's powers. Deadpool returns home, falls asleep, and dreams of Vanessa, encouraging him to open his heart to teamwork and life beyond her. He goes to apologize only to find the team already headed back to Russia. Determined to help, Deadpool follows them and reconciles with Colossus before joining the final mission. Together, they trap Omega Red in the crowd chamber, kill him, and afterwards offer Deadpool a place at the mansion. But he declines and sets off to discover his new purpose. The mid-credit scene shows a man in some kind of stronghold as he hears the sound of a woman's voice. He looks over at a picture frame to imply that the woman in the picture is his wife. He walks over to a box and opens it up to see 10 metal rings. The post-credit scene shows Natasha Romanoff gets a cryptic message from an unknown person asking her about a man who can copy anyone's fighting style. The message was a cry for help from a man named Mark Spector. Our next project in the timeline is Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, taking place in 2026. Shang Chi, raised by Wenwu, the possessor of the mysterious Ten Rings, grows up with immense strength and immortality granted by those powerful relics. Wenwu had once given up the rings to start a family, but after his wife was killed, he put them back on and never removed them again. Shang-Chi trained in the ways of the Ten Rings, and at 14 is sent to kill the man who murdered his mother. After completing his mission, Shang-Chi moves to America and tries to start a new life, becoming a valet driver with his best friend Katie. One day, a man sent by his father comes after Shang-Chi, demanding that he gives up his pendant. This leads to a fight on a bus where Shang-Chi reveals his martial arts skills to Katie. Although he defeats the attackers, they manage to steal the pendant. Shang-Chi remembers a note from his sister asking him to find her, and heads to China with Katie. They arrive only to discover the note was a trap sent by Wenwu, who wants to take the pendant from Xiaoling. During their encounter, Shang-Chi faces Death Dealer, his former mentor, and is captured by Wenwu, who takes them to his compound. On the way, Wenwu expresses his anger towards Tony Stark, who had promised to reunite Shang-Chi with his father many years ago. Shang-Chi learns that Wenwu believes the people of Ta Lo are holding his wife captive, but Shang-Chi doesn't believe it. This leads to a confrontation, and Wenwu locks Shang-Chi, Katie, and Xiaoling in a dungeon. The trio escapes and follows a map that leads them through a magical bamboo forest to the hidden portal of Ta Lo. There, they meet their aunt, who teaches them the ways of Ta Lo and prepares them for the inevitable showdown with their father. Wenwu arrives in Ta Lo seeking to free his wife, but instead releases a dangerous demon that feeds on life force. Shang-Chi confronts his father in a battle, with both using 5 of the 10 rings. During their fight, the demon breaks free and kills Wenwu. In his final moments, Wenwu passes the rings to Shang-Chi. As the demon threatens the village, a giant dragon, the protector of Ta Lo, appears to fight it off, giving Shang-Chi the opportunity to use the 10 rings to defeat this demon. With the demon vanquished, Shang-Chi and Katie return home, sharing a drink in a bar to mourn the loss of any fallen friends they had along the way. The mid-credit scene shows Shang-Chi stares at a hologram of the 10 rings, learning that they are sending a signal somewhere. Standing in front of him are Wong, Bruce Banner, and Reed Richards. None of them can figure out where they came from or how old they really are. They tell Shang-Chi that if they find anything, they will be in contact with him. The post-credit scene shows Shang Chi is fighting in what looks like a training room. The person he is fighting against is Black Widow. They have been working on honing their skills while trying to learn more about the Ten Rings. Their training is interrupted when a call from the front door goes off to see Mark Spector. Our next project in the timeline is Moon Knight, taking place in 2026. For the last few years, a man named Mark Spector has been the avatar for the god of the moon Khonshu. Due to his tragic past, he tends to black out and wake up somewhere new. This is caused by his split personality, Stephen Grant, who is a more passive man and doesn't care for violence. For the longest time, Mark had trouble keeping his other half from interfering with his work, but he eventually began to work with his other half and became even stronger. Now, Moon Knight faces an even more challenging threat that can copy anyone's fighting style, Taskmaster. He showed up randomly and started hunting Mark, and he wants to copy the fighting style of every strong hero in the world. One day, Mark was caught off guard and was jumped by Taskmaster, but due to his ability to change fighting styles, Moon Knight got away. He does research on who this man is and learned that he had been taken down by Black Widow in the past, so he sends a message out to Natasha Romanoff to see if she can help him, but the response took too long and he decided to go meet her in person. He heads to the Avengers compound and meets the former Red Room assassin. Natasha is shocked to hear that Taskmaster is back, because she thought her family took care of him many years ago. She teams up with Moon Knight to try and take Taskmaster down for good, heading out in the city at night jumping from the rooftops. Suddenly, Taskmaster arrives and starts fighting in similar styles that Natasha recognizes. Natasha and Moon Knight are backed into a corner and escape without being seen. They regroup back at the compound to go over the fighting styles Taskmaster currently has. He possesses the different fighting styles of Spider-Man, Daredevil, Black Widow, Black Panther, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Bullseye, and even Gambit. These styles are what help him in any situation, whether it's against many different heroes. Moon Knight understands why he's being targeted now and tells Natasha that at times he feels like he has another personality inside of him, which he thinks can stop Taskmaster. The two go back out into the city to hunt him down. Once they've been found, they go back into battle with Moon Knight switching his fighting styles from Mark Spector to Stephen Grant. However, during battle, Moon Knight takes a heavy hit to the head and passes out. His eyes open up and he goes after Taskmaster in a very aggressive way that is unlike either of the other two personalities. This style overwhelms Taskmaster to the point where he is defeated in battle. Natasha calls in S.H.I.E.L.D. to take Taskmaster prisoner. Natasha asks who he really is. Moon Knight turns around saying, Jake Lockley. He then thanks Natasha for the help, saying that if she ever needs help, she can rely on him to come. The mid-credit scene shows Moon Knight talking with Natasha through a hologram about a mission he is on. Turns out Moon Knight is doing work trying to hunt down an old threat that has had some rumors spreading around. Doctor Doom is planning something that will end the world. The post-credit scene shows a version of Doctor Strange in a weird realm running with a young woman to try and get this magical book that can stop an incoming threat. But that version of Doctor Strange gets killed as the main universe's Doctor Strange wakes up from what seems like a bad dream. Our next project on the timeline is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, taking place in 2026. A mysterious woman named America Chavez arrives in Universe 616, seeking Doctor Strange's help. Steven and Wong are startled that she knows the universe's numerical designation. America reveals she can travel the multiverse and is being hunted for her powers. She explains that a powerful team from another universe seeks to quote-unquote protect the multiverse through immoral methods. Strange, Wong, and America journey to Universe 838 to investigate. There, they meet the Illuminati, a coalition of heroes from that world. Steven asks who leads them, as Professor X replies that they are all equals. Wong wonders why they need America's powers despite having a Sorcerer Supreme on their team. 838 Strange admits America's multiversal abilities surpass his own. Iron Man demands they surrender America so they can build a quote-unquote suit of armor around the multiverse. Steven presses them about what threat they fear so greatly. They reveal that the threat is Kang the Conqueror. Kang has conquered countless other universes and begun waging war across others. Variants of Kang either join him or oppose him, escalating an inter-multiversal war. Steven proposes stopping Kang's 838 variant early, but Reed Richards explains Kang hasn't been born yet. Tensions erupt when Namor loses patience and attacks the 616 sorcerer. Wong teleports himself, Steven, and America across Universe 838, but the Illuminati repeatedly intercept them. America panics and opens a portal, sending herself through multiple universes before returning to 616. Back in the 616 universe, she asks if there's anyone powerful enough to help them, prompting Steven and Wong to consider a risky option. Steven travels to Wanda Maximoff's remote cabin to seek her aid. Wanda, guilt-ridden from past events, hesitates but agrees when Steven assures her they can help her stay in control. Returning to Kamar-Taj, they find the Illuminati arriving to seize America again. A massive battle ensues, during which Wanda realizes the Illuminati are being controlled by an external force. Kang the Conqueror appears to reprimand the Illuminati, sending them through a portal, and leaves the 616 heroes to prepare for his inevitable return. Portal closes, which sends fear down Steven's spine. Steven says they need to go after them, but Wong tells him to have Kang deal with them, and that they should prepare for a plan in case Kang comes back. Wong asks Wanda if she would be willing to help them. She agrees and stays at Kamar-Taj with Wong and America Chavez. The mid-credit scene shows the portal opening up to see the Illuminati being pushed through it in front of the Council of Kangs. With all eyes on them, Kang Prime makes quick work of the hero group and kills every last one of them. Kang looks up at the rest of the council, telling them that Earth 616 is the prime target for battle, and that they must take control of it. The post-credit scene shows Doctor Strange is walking down the road to hear a woman's voice asking if he is Doctor Strange. She walks up to Steven and claims that he caused an incursion and that she needs his help to fix it. Our next project in the timeline is Antman Quantumaina, taking place in 2027. Hank Pym has spent 3 years studying the quantum realm in hopes of rescuing Janet. Despite his efforts, he cannot find a way to bring her back without damaging the timeline. Reed Richards, Bruce Banner, and even Doctor Strange all warn him about the scientific and multiversal threats this could pose. Hank becomes so consumed by his work that he neglects his daughter Hope. This neglect breaks the promise he made to Janet before she was lost. One night, a strange bright light suddenly bursts inside his lab. Hank is pulled into the light and loses consciousness. He awakens inside a mysterious prison structure. A figure emerges from the shadows and introduces himself as Kang the Conqueror. Kang explains that Hank's signal reached the quantum realm, attracting his attention. Hank demands to know how he ended up there. Kang reveals he was banished to the quantum realm by the Council of Kangs. He insists that only Hank can help him escape. A door opens and Kang frees Hank from the cell. Kang shows him visions of the multiverse collapsing under attacks from other Kang variants. He explains that Universe 616 is his home and he wants to protect it. Kang offers Hank a deal. Help him repair his time chair and he will let Hank save Janet. Desperate to fix his past, Hank agrees. As they work together, Hank learns that Kang's real name is Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of Reed Richards. The two develop a reluctant friendship while repairing the device. Once the chair is fixed, Nathaniel reveals his true goal: to continue conquering the multiverse. He betrays Hank and attacks him. Hank tries to stop him by stealing and shrinking the chair's power source, but Kang regains it after injuring him. Near death, Hank sees a vision of Janet telling him to let her go and be a better father to Hope. With renewed resolve, Hank destroys Kang's time chair, seemingly killing him, but becomes trapped in the quantum realm himself. The mid-credit scene shows back at the Baxter building, a device on Reed Richards' monitor is going off. It's a signal that is coming from the quantum realm. It seems to be some kind of energy reading, almost like it was an explosion. This gets the attention of Reed as he tells the Fantastic Four to get ready to journey down to the quantum realm. The post-credit scene shows the Council of Kangs as they talk about how a variant of Kang has been killed. Kang Prime steps out from the darkness as he looks on at the multiverse and smiles as he sees how the only other Kang that could have surpassed him was dead, and now they can begin the enslavement of the multiverse. So everything you guys have seen so far in this phase of my multiverse saga is either things that relate to my storytelling that I've spread throughout the first four sagas, or a little bit of what I kind of wanted to happen. But this next project in the multiverse saga is one specifically that I came up with because of the past X-Men projects that I had scripted and storied out in the past videos. Our next project in the timeline is X-Men Sins of Sinister, taking place in 2027. Following the events of Dark Phoenix, the mutant population begins to grow and stabilize again. Jean Grey's death still weighs heavily on Scott Summers and Logan. Logan uses alcohol to numb the memories of losing her. Scott, in contrast, throws himself fully into training to prevent future losses. 5 years earlier, the X-Men accepted Emma Frost as a new member. Emma, who is also a telepath, gradually grew close to Scott. Their bond deepened until they became a romantic couple. One day, while Scott is training, he feels a sudden wave of nausea and dread. A knock at the mansion door interrupts his routine. Standing outside is a young woman with red hair who looks like Jean Grey. Scott is stunned, believing his mind is deceiving him. Jean approaches him calmly, touches his hand, and speaks to him telepathically. Realizing this is truly Jean, Scott is overwhelmed with emotions. Beast and Storm witness her return and immediately escort her to the labs. Blood tests confirm that the woman really is Jean Grey. Jean recounts waking up in a dark room after her Phoenix-driven rampage, eventually escaping captivity. Scott points out she appears younger than when she died, adding to the mystery. Beast theorizes that if the Phoenix revived her, it may have restored her body to its strongest form. Scott asks the team to keep Jean's return a secret for now. Back in his room, Scott struggles to process seeing her again, as Jean tries to act as though nothing has changed, creating tension between them. Scott's emotional turmoil causes him to push her away. When Logan arrives at the mansion, he instantly recognizes Jean's scent. Shocked, he searches for her and eventually finds her. Jean explains everything to Logan, and word spreads through the mansion quickly. Jean telepathically addresses the X-Men, insisting she is the same Jean and no longer bound by the Phoenix Force. Storm and Beast accept her first, followed slowly by the others. Scott, however, remains distant and conflicted. Jean approaches him again, but Emma Frost appears, coldly telling Jean she has been replaced. Hurt and furious, Jean lashes out, flees the mansion. Logan follows her into the woods where Jean collapses in tears. Her anguish suddenly twists into manic laughter as a red diamond forms on her forehead. She uses her powers to swiftly knock Logan unconscious. Mr. Sinister emerges from the forest and orders Jean to take Wolverine with them. Scott discovers signs of their disappearance and ventures into the woods searching for them. Mr. Sinister confronts Scott directly and gives him a location to meet if he wants the truth. Scott rushes back and assembles the X-Men for a rescue mission. They arrive at an island housing Mr. Sinister's secret laboratory. Inside, they find Jean and Logan restrained, prompting Scott to approach her. Jean awakens and violently attacks the team, controlled by Mr. Sinister. Jubilee attempts to reach Jean emotionally, but memories aren't enough to break Sinister's influence. Sinister captures the X-Men, leaving only Cyclops free. Sinister reveals that this Jean is a clone created from preserved DNA after her death. He had expected her to be fully restored, but found her younger and incomplete compared to the original. Heartbroken and furious, Scott unleashes his optic blast in rage. Jean shields Sinister as she is still under his mind control. Scott breaks through and speaks to Jean, appealing to her true self. With a precise blast, he destroys the red diamond controlling her mind. The X-Men are freed, but Sinister escapes, vowing to continue his experiments to create the perfect mutant. Back at the mansion, Logan departs for a bar to drown the chaos of the day. Jean questions whether she still belongs at the mansion. Scott assures her that she will always have a place there. But then Jean asks where she fits into Scott's life now. He cannot give her a definitive answer. Seeing Emma, Jean decides Scott should stay with her for now. Jean leaves the mansion to search for her own identity and purpose in a world that has moved on without her. The mid-credit scene shows Scott calling Jubilee to the principal's office. She wonders if she is in trouble, but Scott tells her the opposite. He tells her that with all the missions she has been on and work she has put into the X-Men, he wants her to make her own team of X-Men. She is happy for the offer and asks if this is about Mr. Sinister. Scott says yes, and that he wants her new team to work on hunting down Mr. Sinister. The post-credit scene shows Captain Marvel is flying through space as she comes in contact with Nova. He tells her that the Skrulls have invaded Xandar and are heading back to the planet where they call home. Captain Marvel asks what the planet he's going to so she can join them. He says, it's Earth. Our next project in Phase 5 is Captain Marvel Secret Invasion, taking place in 2027. Captain Marvel has been secretly working with S.H.I.E.L.D. when she receives an urgent call from Nick Fury. Fury tells her that Nova has reached out requesting for help. Carol flies out into space and finds Nova accompanied by a fleet of Nova Corps ships. Nova reveals that the Skrulls have invaded Xandar and tracked their people to the planet they've lived on for the last couple years. When Carol asks which planet, Nova shockingly answers Earth. Carol learns the Skrulls have been disguising themselves as humans on Earth for the last couple years. Carol and Nova return to SWORD, a S.H.I.E.L.D.-based space station, to discuss the hidden Skrull infiltration. Fury calculates the Skrulls arrived during the blip when Earth's heroes and mutants were at their weakest. He also informs Carol about a mysterious cosmic bangle found by a young woman in New Jersey. Carol travels to New Jersey and meets Kamala Khan, a huge fan of hers. Their conversation is interrupted when Nova appears and suddenly attacks Carol. Carol and Kamala fight back, and Kamala impresses Carol with her powers. Carol discovers the attacker isn't Nova, but a Skrull imposter working for the Super Skrull. They take the captured Skrull to SWORD, where Fury interrogates him, and Carol begins training Kamala. Fury learns that the Super Skrull possesses powers similar to the Fantastic Four. The Super Skrull invades SWORD and demands Kamala's bangle. Overpowering the heroes, he captures Kamala and reveals his plan to use the two bangles to relocate Earth's resources to rebuild the Skrull homeworld. Carol, Fury, and the real Nova rescue Kamala, but the Super Skrull escapes with both bangles. The Skrull overloads himself, creating a massive jump gate, and dies, leaving Kamala and Carol to stabilize it using the divided power of two bangles. Afterwards, S.H.I.E.L.D. identifies a million hidden Skrulls and safely relocates them, while Carol and Nova help rebuild Xandar, and Kamala heads to the X-Mansion to explore her mutant abilities. The mid-credit scene shows Kamala is being scouted by Jubilee to be a member of her new X-Men team, while the post-credit scene shows Captain Marvel showing up back at the Avengers compound to talk with Sam Wilson about the rumor of Doctor Doom. Our next story in the timeline is Guardians of the Galaxy 3, taking place in 2028. Rocket Raccoon is being hunted down by the High Evolutionary, the man who tortured Rocket as a baby and did experiments on him. He has been fascinated with his intelligence for years and has created many different types of species throughout the galaxy in hopes of creating the perfect life form. We learn about the backstory with Rocket and some of the other animals that were experimented on and how they were all killed when they were trying to escape. Back in the present, we see the Guardians of the Galaxy have bought the Celestial Skull Nowhere and use it as a base of operations. Peter Quill has fallen to drinking from mourning the loss of Gamora and that her past self is living in this timeline but doesn't remember anything that the space group went through. Suddenly, Rocket is attacked by a man named Adam Warlock, who is a member of the Sovereign, another race that was created by the High Evolutionary. Adam is a strong being who has a very philosophical way of thinking about life in the universe. He kidnaps Rocket and takes him back to the High Evolutionary. The group get on their ship and head out into space. Along the way, they meet up with Gamora, who has now joined the Ravagers. Gamora agrees to work with the Guardians for money in hopes of convincing her to join the Guardians again. Rocket wakes up from the attack to see the High Evolutionary and Adam Warlock. He tells Rocket that he will be a part of a bigger universe where the perfect being will take over. Rocket wonders why he needs his brain since he created Rocket. Adam, overhearing this, agrees with Rocket and begins to have a philosophical discussion about what makes something or someone perfect. The Guardians make their way towards the High Evolutionary, and along the way he tries to reconnect with Gamora, only to her, this is her first time meeting him. Even Nebula jumps in trying to help her see that joining the Guardians can change someone, including her. Eventually, they make it to the High Evolutionary ship and break inside of it. The group work together, and along the way, they encounter Adam Warlock again. He tells them that he is not here to fight them, for he has found a new understanding and wants to help them save Rocket. Suddenly, the trapdoors crash down from the ceiling as the High Evolutionary has trapped them. Adam Warlock and Drax break through the doors as they see failed experimental animal warriors on the other side sent to kill the Guardians. Peter leads the charge as they destroy all the warriors and make their way to Rocket. As surgery is about to begin, Peter attacks the High Evolutionary with the rest of the Guardians, Gamora, and Adam Warlock following. The High Evolutionary is still breathing as Groot hands Rocket a gun and kills the High Evolutionary. Rocket tells them that they need to save anyone still on the ship. They find young children that were being tested on, along with tons of animals. After saving every soul on the ship, the Guardians regroup back at Nowhere as Peter tells Rocket he thinks it's time to head home back to Earth and that he wants Rocket to lead a new Guardians team. Mantis decides to go her own separate way to find her purpose, while Adam Warlock stays back on Nowhere with the rest of the Guardians to help teach the young children. Gamora ends up heading back to the Ravagers to start a new chapter in the past. The mid-credit scene shows Peter landing back on Earth, and the first person he can think of to go see is if his grandfather is still alive. He finds his house and reconnects with his grandfather once again. Their conversation is interrupted though when Nick Fury arrives at the house asking if Peter would like to work at SWORD and still help protect the world. The post-credit scene shows a strange white warrior is attacking a god using the power of an ancient sword. He makes a claim that there should be no more gods as he begins his quest to butcher them all. Our final project in Phase 5 to kick off the multiverse is Thor Way of Gods, taking place in 2028. Thor has reached his full power when it comes to using his lightning powers and wielding his king's weapon Stormbreaker. He has been running New Asgard on Earth peacefully and successfully for the last 4 years. One day he gets an invite to a meeting with other gods about an issue that seems to be involving their kind. Thor learns about a man named Gorr the God Butcherer who has possession of the Necro Sword, an all-black weapon that has the power of taking out the gods. His goal is to eliminate all gods in this universe. Thor is tasked by Zeus to take down this butcherer and asks for his son Hercules to accompany him. The two gods head out on an adventure to slay the God Butcherer. Along the way, they meet another Asgardian who once worked for Odin as a Valkyrie, a female warrior that would ride on Pegasus into battle. She had been tasked with taking out Hela many centuries ago, but was the only one to make it out alive. She had gone into hiding and lived her own life. When she heard about how Gorr could come for her because she is part of the Asgardians and Norse mythology, she agrees to join up with the group and hunt down Gorr. Traveling from planet to planet, they find a trail of dead bodies from many different gods. Eventually, they get a lead on Gorr's location and make their way to Rapu, the home world of Gorr. All color from this planet has faded, and all that remains is death. Gorr makes his appearance and is glad to see that his name has been spread throughout the gods as they now have started coming to his homeworld to die. Hercules yells at Gorr saying he won't be killing any more gods today. Gorr explains to Hercules that he wants to kill his father the most, since his kind doesn't seem to care about mortals and their issues. Thor steps in and suggests otherwise, since he has stepped in mortal affairs many times helping out his friends, the Avengers. Gorr asks Thor if the world is truly safe for helping out mortals. Thor struggles to say yes, since there's always some kind of new threat that shows up. Gorr also points out that he still protects other gods since he is working with them to kill Gorr. Thor uses his lightning powers and attacks Gorr, but it gets deflected. Hercules joins in along with Valkyrie for a combined attack. Gorr is able to stop them all and add another member to his list by killing Valkyrie. Thor gets angry and goes in for another attack, but Gorr is able to slip into the shadows and evade this. Thor takes his friends using the Bifrost back to Zeus to ask for help. Zeus turns him down, saying he has better things to do. Thor and Hercules get angry with Zeus because of their lost friend. Zeus tells his son to leave this issue to Thor, for he knows about running around stopping villains. Hercules goes against his father's wishes and goes with Thor to try and kill Gorr. Zeus then banishes Hercules from Olympia and to never return for this disrespect. Thor comes up with a plan. If they can destroy the sword, maybe they can stop him, for he would be weakened. They head back to Rapu, but Gorr is nowhere to be found. Thor thinks of another place Gore would have gone. We see Gore arriving at New Asgard during the late hours of night, about to kill everyone. Thor quickly makes his way towards Earth, and a final battle takes place. Hercules is able to destroy the Necro Sword, which allows Thor to land a devastating blow to Gore, killing him in the process. Thor's final words to Gore are, "Some gods may be selfish, but those who reach out to mortals learn there is more to life than just being a god." Gore passes away into the shadows. Hercules decides to stay on New Asgard since he's been banished. As Thor mourns the loss of another friend, he feels like he must do more, not just for his people, but for the people of Earth as well. The mid-credit scene shows Sam Wilson gets in contact with Thor, asking if he wants to join his new Avengers team, with Thor agreeing, wondering why they need him. Sam says Earth is on course for an incursion. The post-credit scene shows Thor looking up at the sky as a green tear in reality opens to see Loki asking for his brother. Well, folks, that's going to be it for today's episode of What If Marvel Had All the Rights from the Start, Phase 5. This is the start of the Multiverse saga, and in the next video, we will conclude the Multiverse saga. Now, I will admit, this specific phase took so long to do. I said I was going to have it done back in November. It didn't end up happening, but now it's December. I worked my ass off to try and get the last couple of these done today. And I have to admit, X-Men Sins of Sinister was, I think, my personal favorite one out of this entire phase that I made. But let me know which one was your favorite and which one was your least favorite. And let me know what you think is going to happen in the next phase. So, with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, click on the link to this video right here. I think you'll enjoy it just as much as this one. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!